over the past few months, we have been discussing various aspects of Judaism. Everything from what are important books, the holidays, the calendar. So I'm going to ask the question and try to answer over the next couple of sessions. What is Judaism? We often say we're Jewish, we're behaving Jewish. What does that mean? What does that look like? So what is Judaism? Is it a people? Is it a history? Is it a tradition? Is it a religion? Is it great taste, less filling? Is it a belief in Judy? What is Judaism? So we'll begin with this, that it's an approach, it's a life approach, and in the 5 books of Moses, in the Torah, there are 613 mitzvot. The first commandment to human beings is pru uravu, be fruitful and multiply. The last mitzvah, the 613th, is to write a Torah scroll. Of the 613, 365 are negative mitzvot, thou shalt nots. That means there are 248 positive mitzvot, thou shalt. How does that work? Well, 365 should seem like a pretty familiar number. It's the number of days in a solar year. 365. There are, according to Jewish tradition, 248 sinews, bones, organs in the body. So essentially, Judaism is something you do 365 days a year with your whole body. It's a way of life. It's a way of living and approaching life. So the misconception among many non-Jews, and even amongst most non-observant Jews, is that doing Jewish every day involves pushing thousands of buttons and pulling thousands of levers each day. It's so much to do, you can't wrap your head around it. So the whole idea here is that it's to help us not become robots, automatons, going through each day the same way, doing the same thing without giving it a second thought. And so, honestly, if you take a normal day in the life of a Jew, an observant Jew, it's a normal day. It's not Shabbat, it's not the Sabbath, it's not Yom Tov, it's not a holiday. Nobody's being born, nobody's dying. There's no circumcisions or weddings or anything like that. Just a plain, normal, everyday. Then you're going to spend basically, anywhere from an hour and a half total in prayer. Maybe 50 minutes in the morning, maybe 10 to 15 minutes in the afternoon, 10 to 15 minutes in the evening, and then the various blessings we might say over food. You're eating kosher food, you're not married to the dog or a cow or your brother or sister, so you're just basically, it's a everyday, normal day. So again, spending about, maybe an hour and a half in prayer, and what does that mean for the rest of the day? Well, you work, you do your work. But the approach is that we don't do it on instinct. We don't go around every day just going from home to work, work to home, eat a meal, pray, watch TV. So the point of all the mitzvot is to develop a relationship with the Creator, with Ribono Shel Olam, the Master of the Universe. How do we do that? Well, how do you develop a relationship with someone that you love? You do it by doing the things that are important to the one you love. Some of the things may be stuff you want to do anyway, but we do it caring for the other person. So one of the examples that I learned, and this is, by the way, this whole idea, this whole talk that I'm sharing with you was something I listened to by Rabbi David Orlovsky from Yeshiva in Israel. I think he's back here in the United States now. But Rabbi David Orlovsky shared this idea of what is Judaism, and I want to give him proper approbation for some of the things I'm sharing with you. One of the things he said, and the example he gives, is this. Let's say you used to go to a camp, and it's now 25, 30 years later, and you see a person you haven't seen since you left camp. And what kind of greeting would that be? Well, that greeting would be, "Hey, how are you? How you doing, man?" You like greet each other like long lost friends, and you share what's been going on with you. You may go out for coffee. You may have a drink together somewhere, and everything's wonderful. Now think about the same thing happening with your husband or wife. You go on walkabout, as they say in down under in Australia. You go on walkabout, and maybe you're going not 25, but even 2 or 3 months without seeing each other, talking to each other. Do you think you would have the same kind of greeting when you return after that short amount of time? I don't think so. You might be greeted with pots and pans and maybe sharp instruments. It wouldn't be the, "Hi, how are you?" It's been, "Where the heck have you been?" Why? Don't you love that person more than the person you saw in camp? Why would the greeting be different? Well, the answer is this. When you really deeply care about somebody, when you love somebody, there are I have to's, things that you have to do in that relationship to maintain the relationship and to keep a close relationship. That's what the mitzvot, the commandments, are. It's a way of developing a relationship with the Creator and maintaining that relationship. And honestly, if you don't want to have a relationship with God, if you don't want to have a relationship with the Creator, then don't do the mitzvot. I mean that. But if you want a relationship, if you want an ongoing, loving relationship with the Creator, with the Master of the universe, then the mitzvot are there for us, laid out plainly so that we can do them each and every day. We'll continue more in our next session, A Day in the Life of a Jew.